there, everybody. This is Pastor Charlie. I'm here with a midweek reflection for you. Today is Wednesday, the 6th of December, and it's actually my wife's birthday. So if you see her later on this week, wish her a happy birthday, and it's a big birthday. I'm just going to let you into that secret. This is the second week of Advent, and as I sit here in the sanctuary now, I'm looking at the front of the sanctuary. I see our Chrismon tree over there on the other side of where I'm seated here, and I'm just reminded that this time of year is wonderful in so many ways. I'm a big fan of Christmas lights. I love to see them in my house. I love to see them downtown here. I love to be reminded of the light shining in the darkness throughout this season. But often we kind of skip over the journey of Advent, of preparing our hearts, preparing a way for the Lord, as John the Baptist might have said to us. We skip over the preparation stage and go straight to the birth of Christ, who is indeed the light of the world. And I don't want to stop people doing that, because it's always good to focus in on the light. But I also want to call people back to this work of preparing our hearts, to meet the Christ child as he arrives and we celebrate his birth on Christmas Eve. Here at Memorial, we have a number of ways that you can do that. Of course, our worship services continue on an Advent theme throughout the entirety of December. This week, I'm going to preach from Mark's Gospel, chapter 1. We're going to learn about John the Baptist. We also, the following week, have our cantata at the 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. services in person, and that 11 a.m. service will be broadcast live on our YouTube channel. So that's another point where you can sort of lock in and become even more aware of the reality of the story that we tell here. That's the story of the gospel, the good news that God so loved the world that he's given us his son, whose birth we celebrate. It's really at the core of who we are. Other ways that we can connect and talk about this Advent journey is our Wednesday night class. That goes out at 6:30 p.m. on our Facebook page. You get to see a live conversation between myself and our other pastors and another volunteer who's jumping in on the conversation. We're talking about our Advent book, Almost Christmas. Last week we had a great conversation with one of the authors of the book, and this week as we go through chapter 2, it's going to be another great conversation, all about this hope that Christ brings as he comes into the world. We also have our devotional tool that is in our worship spaces. This is a collection of poems that just help us journey through and think through this Advent journey that we're making as we do the work of preparing a way for the Lord and making straight his paths in our hearts. Friends, Advent is a time when we can particularly and specifically focus our attention on Christ and on his work within our lives and on Christ's work within the world. It is a time when we have a heightened awareness of the power of the gospel at work in our lives and in this world. And so I want to invite you to engage, to become involved, whether it's through a midweek study or sitting with a poem each week of Advent, or planning to join us for worship every single week of this 4-week journey. However it is that you want to attend to your relationship with God in this time, choose it and go for it and don't hold back. It really is good news that Christ came into the world. It is good news that gives us great hope and peace and joy and love. And those aren't just words that we write on Christmas cards or see plastered on our screens in church. Those are real things, made real by Christ, by his presence in the world, and by the power of the Spirit that he gave to all of us. Friends, this is a holy time of year, and I hope you're diving right into it and that you're letting Christ do Christ's work in your heart. I look forward to seeing you this weekend.